You know, most of us learn a language from a textbook, right? But what does it actually look like when you try to bridge that gap, between the strict grammar rules and just having a real, confident conversation? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're stepping inside a real B2 English lesson, slide by slide, to see how it all works.
So, have you ever wondered what a B2 class is really like? What it actually takes to break through to that next level of fluency? Well, you're about to find out. Think of this as your all-access pass. For the next few minutes, you're officially a student in this class. Sound good? Okay, let's jump right in.
Okay, first things first. Every good class has to start by, breaking the ice. But this isn't your typical, what's your name kind of thing. Nope. This one comes with a real B2 level twist.
So check this out. It's not just about introducing yourself. The task immediately pushes you to use more complex language. You have to compare your life now to how it was in the past, your work, the city you live in, even your future plans. It's actually a super clever way to get your brain warmed up, activate all that grammar you know, and get you talking right from the get-go.
So let me ask you, how would you answer this? How are your current plans for the future less or more ambitious than they were 10 years ago? Just take a second to think about it. See, this is a perfect example of the kind of question that really makes you dig deep, not just for vocabulary, but for the right grammar too. It's not just a test, it's a real conversation starter.
All right, so introductions are done. Now, let's talk about the toolkit. Because to succeed, every student needs a clear plan and, of course, the right tools.
And this is just a brilliant illustration of a modern approach. Over on the left, you've got the lesson menu. That's your core curriculum. It's focused on the tricky stuff, like the tense system and the little details of spoken English. And on the right, that's the tech that brings it all to life. We're talking TED Talks for listening, Quizlet for vocab, and Kahoot for some fun, competitive quizzes. It's this awesome blend of solid structure and dynamic, hands-on practice.
With our toolkit ready to go, it's time for a little workout. We're jumping straight into a grammar diagnostic. Now, the goal here isn't to get 100%. It's really for you and the teacher to figure out where your strengths are and, maybe where there are a few weak spots. The exercise itself is simple but really effective. You just match the time expressions in the box with the right sentences. This makes you think really carefully about which tense you need for words like recently, or for ages, or since I was a child.
Let's just zoom in on this one for a second. My grandparents have lived in Ireland. That's present perfect. And it suggests there's a connection to now. Maybe they still live there, or maybe that fact is important for some reason right now. Getting a feel for these little nuances is absolutely key at the B2 level.
So the bigger challenge here is this. Can you just scan that list of sentences and spot all the different tenses? I mean, you're going to see past simple, present perfect, and a few others. It's a really quick and effective way to get a snapshot of what you've already got locked down.
Okay, so you've tested your knowledge of the rules. But let's be honest, the real goal is to understand how people actually use English out in the wild. And that means learning to decode informal language.
To do that, the class gets a piece of real, authentic material to work with, an email from a traveler named Nancy. It's packed with excitement and personal stories, but most importantly, it's full of that casual, everyday English we all want to master.
So, your mission as a student is to basically become a language detective. You're not just reading to find out the basic facts, like where she is or who she's with. You're also analyzing how she's writing. What is it that makes this email sound so informal and not like, say, a business report?
And the learning doesn't just stop at reading. The very next step is to get active. Now the students have to form their own questions about the email, using different tenses. This move is great because it reinforces both your understanding and your grammar, making you interact with the text on a much, much deeper level.
And that brings us to the final, and I think most crucial part of the lesson. This is where we connect all the dots, linking the strict academic rules of grammar to the flexible, flowing way people actually talk in real life.
You have to start with the blueprint. This table here, it lays out all the tenses, present, past, future, perfect, and it shows them in both their active and passive forms. You've got to know this stuff cold. This is the foundation that everything else is built on. And then you learn how to break them. Or, well, maybe a better way to put it is how native speakers bend and adapt them in a normal conversation. And this right here perfectly illustrates one of the biggest secrets to sounding natural, dropping words.
So here's the key takeaway. When somebody says, "Seen Jim lately?" instead of "Have you seen Jim lately?" they're not being wrong, they're being efficient. Just like this note says, dropping subjects and those little helper verbs is a huge part of spoken English. It just makes speech faster, more casual, and way more natural. Honestly, this is the kind of stuff that really separates a B1 speaker from a B2 speaker.
So there you have it. A complete journey all the way from a warm-up icebreaker to a deep dive into the little details of spoken grammar. You've seen how structure and technology can work together and how you can build that bridge from the rules to reality. So the only question left is, are you ready to take on the challenge yourself?